% uptick coming in for MGL. And Aditya, where do you see this counter headed now? Mahanagar Gas, yes, it is reacting on back of news flows, but on the charts, do you think some more upside is left for this one?
Good afternoon, thanks for the show. Absolutely. Look at the way the stock has moved in the past 3 trading sessions. A massive up move on the stock, backed by extremely healthy volumes as well. So my sense is stock is going to continue its bullish momentum in the coming trading sessions as well, despite the fact that the next week is also a truncated week. But my sense is stock is good to go to levels of 900 and beyond from current levels. Also, technical indicators to suggest that the up move is going to continue and should be on guard. So definitely traders who have missed out on the opportunity to go long on MGF can still look at the stock and go long at current levels as well. Add on to it if there is a decline of 2 to 3%, because the trend is looking to reverse the downtrend and now looks good to go to levels of 900 at least, and if that is crossed, 1,000 may also be seen sometime soon.
All right, moving on, let's talk about JMC Projects, and that particular counter is in focus because it informed the exchanges this morning that it has secured new orders worth 1,524 crore rupees in construction as well as water segments. These orders include an engineering, procurement and construction project for an integrated airport development in Asia, which is for about 1,012 crore rupees. Remember that JMC is a subsidiary of Kalpataru Power. Apart from this, they've also said that they've bagged water projects worth about 370 crore rupees and building and factories project worth 142 crore rupees. So all in all, a project win of about new project wins of about 1,524 crore rupees, and the stock is trading higher by over 3.5%.
Absolutely. But let's move on to the next one, and that was HDFC AMC. This stock is in focus today as well. And as of now, it's surely trading in the green, Aditya. But what should we be expecting from this one? Can we expect more of an upside now?
Oh, absolutely. Vinny, I believe this is one stock which is actually underperformed and has not made money for traders in the recent times. In fact, it is one of those which is underperformed big time. But looking at the current chart structure, does look like the underperformance is going to diminish anytime soon. It has broken out from a narrow consolidation pattern and now making higher rise, higher low, which is an indication of a trend reversal, at least in the favor of bulls at the moment. I would prefer the stock to trade beyond 2040. Once it sustains above 2040, stock is good to go to levels of 2080 to about 2150 as well on the upside. What is interesting to note is RSI has managed to take support at the level, which is usually the upper end of the bear trend, and from there it has resumed its upward journey. So it looks like stock should test levels of 2100 to about 2150 in the near term, and I'm betting on this big time now.
All right, let's move on and let's talk about IRCTC. Upasana, they came out with their earnings, and how were they when you compare it on a year-on-year basis?
When talking about revenues, they stood at 852 crores versus 243 crores with an uptick of almost 251% on Y-on-Y basis. Talking about the net profit, it stood at 245 crores versus 82 crores with an uptick of almost 197% on Y-on-Y basis. In terms of EBITDA also, we saw an uptick of almost 190 crores and it stood at 321. Talking about the EBITDA margins, they stood at 37% versus 45.6%. The stock is down almost 0.5% as we speak, giving up the morning gains.
Keeping an eye out on IRCTC, but let's move on to the next one, and this one is in focus on the back of its numbers as well. And we are seeing ISGEC Heavy Engineering. The stock is moving in trade today because the numbers you're seeing coming in, revenue is up by 22.4%. Profits of the company are seeing a growth of around 127% coming in. While in terms of the margins of the company, 5.7% versus 4.5% last year. But like you can see, not much movement coming in, and the stock price down almost 0.7%.
All right, let's talk about Bharat Forge then. Aditya, no doubt that particular counter is in focus because they've come out with their earnings a short while ago. But on the charts, how is Bharat Forge looking to you? Attractive bet?
I believe so, because stock after a decent correction seems to resume its upward journey, and 700 was a very good strong support for the stock. From there, stock seems to reverse now. If stock sustains beyond 730, I would bet on going long, not at the moment. wait for it to cross 730, and if it sustains beyond 730, chances are stock will test levels of 770 to about 790 on the upside. Overall, the structure looks like it's going to resume its uptrend, but just wait for that minor resistance to be taken out, which is 730 at the moment.
All right, let's move on and let's talk about Godrej Consumer Products. That particular counter is in focus today, and that's because you have Goldman Sachs has come out with a note on the company. They've initiated coverage on Godrej Consumer Products, and also they've mentioned that the stock is a part of their conviction buy list. No doubt the stock was trading much higher than what it is right now, 0.5% uptick coming in. And remember that Goldman Sachs has initiated coverage.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. And Aditya, Policy Bazaar is the stock that you're keeping on your radar. How should we look at this fairly new listed company coming in? So what should we be expecting in terms of charts going forward?
This is one of those which is corrected after it listed, and usually I don't talk about this stock, but currently the chart structure is something which makes it a standout stock, and it has broken out from a downward sloping channel, and this downward sloping channel has been forming for some time now. A few months in fact, and it has broken out from that downward sloping channel in trade today. Volumes are pretty decent, which is encouraging at the moment, and looks like it's time to go long on the stock, and the bearish trend reversal is about to get over. Maybe if it tests 620 and it crosses 620 on the upside, 700 is the next target which I'm looking at. So given the fact that the risk reward is definitely in favor of going long in the stock at the moment, I would look to go long for a target of 700 at least, and think for it. It's more of a position trade rather than a trade.
All right, so that's the take coming in on PB Fintech or Policy Bazaar as we all know it. But let's talk about HEG Vamakshi. This particular counter is actually seeing an up move for a second straight session, and this time, at least today's up move, it can be attributed to earnings.
Well, yes, so they came out with a really good set of numbers. So revenue saw an uptick of around 75% on a year-on-year basis. It has gone up from 413 crores to 721 crores. Net profit, however, is the one to focus on. They've seen an uptick of 179% on a year-on-year basis. It has gone up from 57 crores to 159 crores. We also saw its EBITDA margin actually expand from 17.38% to 25%. And on the back of this, we're seeing the stock hold strong in the green with gains of about 3.5%.
Okay, that is HEG for y'all. But let's move on to one more stock that is gaining in trade today is Uflex, and this one also is on the back of its numbers when you see coming in. Overall, let's look at the revenue. Revenue seen a growth of around 46.3% coming in, while the bottom line and the profit, that is the profits of the company, have seen a growth of 42%. So all in all, seems like a good set of numbers coming in from the company, and like you can see, the street is rewarding this good growth that we've seen in revenue as well as profits. Stock is up almost 7.3% in trade. But Aditya, coming to you, overall Realty is the stock in focus that you're keeping on your radar. This stock has just seen a phenomenal move coming in when you look at it in terms of charts for 6 months, 1 year. So what should we be expecting from this one going forward? You know, maybe will we see some correction, or this move is just here to stay the green?
I don't think so. The correction we are going to witness anytime soon in the stock. The trend is going very strong. That is the case with a lot of real estate stocks, honestly, and I believe real estate stock rally is here to stay, and it's going to continue at least for the next few months, if not for the entire year. And overall Realty is definitely one of them which stands out, and it has recently broken out from a bullish flag pattern, which confirms that the uptrend has resumed, and 1,000 is the immediate target that I'm looking at. That happens to the downward sloping trendline resistance. Once 1,000 is taken out, maybe stock is good to go test its all-time highs as well. Along with that, I also see a positive divergence on the RSI with price, which is a confirmation of the uptrend, a strong uptrend prevailing in the stock. So I don't foresee a big correction in the stock going ahead. In fact, if it breaks out above 950 on the upside, chances are the rally towards 1,000 is going to be very swift and fast. So traders should definitely keep a close eye on the stock.
All right, so that's the view coming in on overall Realty. There are no signs of a further dip, but instead if it breaks above 950, then 1,000 is dur nahi for overall Realty is what Aditya is saying. But on that note, we slip into a break on this edition of Market Fatafat, but stay tuned more on the other side, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafar right here on ET now, and let's continue with the journey with all the buzzers in trade today. Back on news flow as well as on technicals, and as you know, on technicals we have Aditya Agarwala also with us, along with our team of researchers. And Upasana, let me come to you. Maersk Dock is the counter that you are tracking, fifth day of gains coming in, but today's gain can be attributed only and only to earnings, isn't it?
Totally, Cheryl. So the stock is clearly buzzing in trade today. It's up almost about 8% as we speak. And in terms of the key matrices, we are seeing a strong growth coming in. In terms of revenue, it saw an uptick of almost 84% and it stood at 2,230 crores. In terms of EBITDA also, we saw an uptick of almost 96% and it stood at 310 crores versus 160 crores. We have seen an expansion in terms of EBITDA margin from 5.8% to 7.8%. While talking in terms of net profit, we saw an uptick of almost 135% and it stands at 217 crores. Talking about the company's annualized ROCE, that has also come in at around 33%, and the company has managed to bag 2 orders from Concor for 2,500 containers. The stock is 20% high from its June lows and 9% up nearly as we speak.
Keeping an eye out on Maersk, but let's move on to the next one. Canara Bank also is a stock in focus today. Aditya, how are the charts looking like for this one? What should we be expecting now here?
Winning most of the PSU banks have started to outperform in the recent times. Last week as well and this week as well, we are seeing a decent up move in most of the PSU banks. Canara Bank is also something which stands out within the entire pack. It has managed to break out from a downward sloping channel on a higher time frame, which suggests that there is a decent bit of an up move still left in the stock. Once it manages to cross 235 on the upside, next target could be 245 to about 255 as well. Volumes are also pretty healthy in the recent up moves, which gives a confirmation and confidence that the up move is here to stay and is likely to continue in the coming sessions.
All right, let's shift focus now to Natco Pharma. Second day of sharp declines coming in for this particular counter. Remember, we flagged it off yesterday as well that the stock is actually reeling under pressure on back of its earnings. And the commentary coming in from management down 20% from yesterday's high level. Natco Pharma management has also indicated that the contribution from generic rev limit will be pretty lower in the subsequent quarters. So on back of that, we're seeing a sharp cut coming in on the counter. At the day's lowest point, that is Natco Pharma for you, down approximately 5% as we speak. But let's shift focus. Aditya, GAIL is a counter that you're tracking. How is this gas player looking like on the charts to you? Do you think that it is safe to venture into this one?
No, Cheryl, actually, I believe it's the opposite. Stock is looking terribly weak on the charts. It's broken down from the neckline of a head and shoulders pattern. And that triggers the start of a fresh downtrend in the stock. If anything, I believe stock is headed to levels of 125, 120 on the downside. Coupled with that, the technical indicators are also in the bear trend, in the bear zone right now. It's the confirmation of the downtrend prevailing in the stock is likely to continue. So anybody holding on to the stock, it's not a bad idea to exit at current levels and maybe add on again at lower levels, closer to about 120. If somebody's looking to go fresh short, definitely look for a target of 125 on the downside.
Let's move on to the next stock, and stock number 27 for today is Patanjali Foods. Vamakshi, this one also is in focus on the back of its numbers.
Well, yes, you're right. So Patanjali Foods reported a revenue growth of around 37%. Revenue is up from 5,266 crores to 7,211 crores. EBITDA margin has also slightly contracted from 6.29% to 5.44%. PAT is up, however, 39%. It has gone up from 174 crores to 241 crores. We also caught up with the management, and they say that they're expecting to see improvement in the margins coming in from the second quarter. They're also expecting to gain market share in the edible oil and are expecting to grow ahead of the market by around 6 to 8%. Now, the company continues to retain its revenue guidance of around 15 to 20%, and on the back of this, we actually saw the stock a buzz in the trading session today, but now we're seeing that the stock has given up its gains and trading slightly in the green with gains of about 0.2%.
All right, moving on, Aditya, Max Financial Services is the counter that you are actually tracking for us. Seventh day of decline coming in for this particular counter. It has been very subdued last 7 trading sessions, to put it. Where do you see the stock headed?
I believe it's headed lower again, Sherlyn, because it's broken down again from a flat pattern, a bearish flat pattern in the channel as well. The recent up move also halted at the 50% Fibonacci retracement level from their stock has been on a one-way downward trajectory. All these indicators suggest that the downtrend is here to stay and is likely to continue in the coming trading sessions. So anybody still latching onto the stock, I believe just still look at it. Maybe the downside is still there. 740, 720 is where I see immediate supports on the downside. If somebody is looking to go fresh short, just wait for a minor pullback and definitely the stop was closer to about 780. One can look at initiating fresh shots for targets of 720 on the downside. Overall weakness is there and is likely to persist in the coming weeks as well.
Okay, keeping an eye out on Max Financial Services and all this levels that Aditya did mention.